Shalom. Praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone that rule well through the scriptures, peace and hope for elect. And you see the title right there. I'm just going to hop into it. It says, Fox News contributor Rachel Campos Duffy, who appeared with her husband, former Wisconsin GOP rep Sean Duffy, said Wednesday on Fox News primetime that Native American struggles have everything to do with government dependency, alcoholism, and family breakdowns. All right. Said co-host Jesse Waters said that Democrats are trying to make them out to be victims and will send more slush funds to the reservations. Now, what Esau does is he does turn people into victims. All right. You totally dismantle a society's way of living or a group of people way of living, and then you give them an alternative that destroys them. All right, that makes them dependent. The same thing they did in the Negro, in the so-called Negro, and what they do in the Negro communities. All right, how they broke down the whole family structure, the way our people lived and viewed reality, and then gave them food stamps or what they call it, WIC, or the other thing where you get the government cheese and all of that. You make people dependent. All right. It says Christopher Columbus, by the way, is the first victim of cancel culture. Campos Duffy complained, accusing Native Americans as being just as brutal as Columbus and other colonizers. Now, the ironic fact about that is one of Columbus's own people said he was basically reported him for being so brutal when you go into the history of Christopher Columbus. All right. But the thing is, let me grab a scripture real quick. This is Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Yeah, you people, you come over and settle. All right, you come over and settle areas that's already settled. Discover places that's already discovered, and you name things after yourselves. And you build structures and you build monuments and memorials. All right. And you name it, and that's what you seek. All right. That's how you attempt to be remembered. It says, nevertheless, man being in honor abided not. He is like the beasts that perish. This their way is their folly. All right, because you don't think about the Most High. You think about leaving your mark on the world, so to speak. And that's the impression you put on average citizens. It says, this their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their sayings, Selah, yeah, your descendants. All right. So your descendants approve of the sayings of Christopher Columbus. One of the sayings of Christopher Columbus is he didn't lay his sword down for 1 hour. I mean, he was just killing and killing and killing, and he was received with hospitality. All right. Those Taino Indians and those Arawak Indians, which are whom you people refer to as Puerto Ricans today, they were very hospitable to this man. All right. Let me see, where's that at? Second Ezra 11 and 42. Thou hast afflicted the meek. All right. Thou hast hurt the peaceable. Thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and have cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. All right. So when you came over here, the so-called Native American Indians, they got histories and stories about how they helped some of the early pilgrims, settlers. All right, Squanto. In fact, he was taken into slavery when in Europe, learned how to speak English, got out of slavery, came back to the Americas. His whole tribe wiped out. And when the Pilgrims came, he was able to help them because he knew how to speak English. All right. Many situations like that. All right. Same thing with the Taino Indians, who is the tribe of Ephraim. All right. Very hospitable unto you. All right. Verse 43, therefore is thy wrongdoing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. So the Lord's sin was being done. All right. The scripture speaks about in your mind, you think the Lord will not see. You think the Lord has forgotten because you still in your rulership, so to speak. All right. Let me go back to the article real quick. Where the article at? Okay. Her husband piped up. They burned villages, raped women, seized children, cluelessly even dared to say that they took land. See, they put everything they did on these people, the so-called Native American Indians, which are the tribe of Gad. And because that they are Israelites, that's why you afflicted them so. All right. Duffy added, they want to apply the woke standard to Christopher Columbus, but nobody else in the world. Donald Trump wants Duffy to run for governor of Wisconsin. The hosts were incensed that Vice President Kamala Harris earlier in the day said the nation should face its shameful past and celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. No, we shouldn't. There shouldn't be no celebrating no Indigenous People Day because they're not Indigenous people. They Israelites from the tribe of Gad. So even within what you call mercy, it's cruel. Like the scripture says, the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. All right. You thought it was mercy that let me grab that real quick. Let me see. Oh, it's mercies. Proverbs 12:10, a righteous man regarded the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. So these mercies, this government dependency, this alcoholism, this government aid, aid from American government is cruel. All right. What they say, how they apply mercy is cruel. On the outside, you might think it might be helping you or it's beneficial, but it's ultimately to destroy you. All right. And what happened to the Native American Indians was from the tribe of Gad was systematic destruction. The way it happened to the so-called Negroes. All right. It says, a nonprofit organization that described itself as dedicated to battling toxic misconceptions of Native Americans criticized the attacks as incredibly harmful, remarks that fuel racism and hate, the Daily Beast first reported. Right. See, these people, they have to excuse themselves of their wickedness. All right. They play the victim and place blame so their evil can be hidden. All right. But this is Jeremiah 49:10. Now, these comments, you could have got away with these comments maybe 20 years ago, maybe 20 plus years ago. All right. But now it says what? Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. You got all these things coming out about these these boarding schools and the Native Americans, what was happening to them. All right. The one guy in Canada, something was happening with the Native American boarding schools, and people was basically getting kidnapped from their families. All right. Then people were dying. Families come looking for them. Then they're dying. And that played a crucial role in Native American society because they very family interdependent. All right. Which that's natural for people to love their children. A lot of people is getting depressed. All right. Getting their children snatched for them. All right. It said his seed is spoiled and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. All right, because it's going to be your turn to get spoiled. The scripture says, because thou hast spoiled many nations. Let me grab that real quick. Habakkuk 2:8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. See how much violence happened on this land? How many treaties you made and how many treaties you broke? Gave people smallpox infested covers for the winter, the Trail of Tears, and there was many Trail of Tears with different tribes. You made many different tribes go on long walks, and people died in the walks, and you was beating people, telling them to hurry up. Just like when you read about Amalek smote the hindermost part of the camp of Israel. All right, y'all was doing the same thing, and the hindermost part normally carry what? The elderly and those that's the weak, maybe the young that can't keep up. This is Isaiah 14:9. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Yes, so you on your way to experience hell. The hell that you put on people is now your turn. What's the phrase? Chickens coming home to roost. It says, it stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. Yeah, these Kim Jong-uns. All right, these Vladimir Putins, these Quan Ping, the leader of China. These other leaders getting the way that they getting stirred up and reinforcing their military. They got the military over there in North Korea. They getting cinder blocks broken across their chests. They laying on glass. They performing all these amazing military feats that these soldiers can do. American soldiers can't do that. Ain't doing that. Like the scripture says, wake up the mighty men. All right. Those mighty men being woken up. Where the mighty men over here in America are for born into fight. All right. It says, even all the chief ones of the earth have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Right. These other nations, these smaller nations that America have bullied over time and reinforced their will on these nations under the threat of violence. Now these nations are rising up and saying, no, you're not the number one economy. You're not the number one in education. You're not the number one in science progression. Are you become as weak as us? Are you on our level? We on your level now? Art thou become like unto us? Right. And that's what's letting you know that it's their time. All of this is a prelude to their turn to go in hell. All right. And not a dimension where you're gonna be burning for all eternity, but to be in a horrible condition. All right. Let me see. I just thought of this scripture right here. Obadiah 1:16. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. All right. You're gonna be in a condition uncomparable to any time in human history. All right. And ultimately, it's gonna be as if you never existed. Once you done away with. All right. So this is the book of Genesis 49. And 19, it says, Gad, which is the so-called Native American Indians, a troop shall overcome him. Right. So they was overcame. All right. It was overcame by Custer and many others. And they write songs about it and they venerate these people that broke treaties and lied and smoked women and children when the men went out to hunt. Y'all did these things. All right. Was famous for it. All right. It says, but he shall overcome at the last. All right. But he shall overcome at the last. Right. So ultimately and very soon, the Native Americans, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, everybody will have, the Israelites will have their revenge, man, at the end. And everything that you're seeing right now that's happening in the world is prophecy and is also a prelude to that revenge. All right. Because we read in Isaiah 14, says the chief ones on the earth, says hell is moved to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the chief ones of the earth. So what this World War III on the horizon, looming, these wars and these rumors of war that Matthew 24 speaks about, that's all evidence that we approaching a time, all right, where the iniquity of our nation, the Israelites, will be accomplished, all right, and the Lord gonna fight for us and put these people in a hellish condition. It's your turn now. So with that, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson to the hopefully elect. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakudash, Shalom.